Here's a question that a lot of us struggle to find the answer to. One that keeps some of us up late at night. One that some of even the smartest people in the world still can't wrap their head around. What do I get for my mom on Mother's Day? It's not an easy question to answer. Even though we have a lot of options to choose from, there are all these snazzy cards nowadays with cute, clever messages on them, beautiful flower arrangements, gourmet chocolates of every kind, a nice dinner out, or a trip to Hawaii. But what does it really mean to celebrate Mother's Day and give meaning to honoring our mothers? My mom once told me that the only way I could ever repay her for being my mom is to become a mom myself. My mom, like a lot of other parents, has this habit of thinking way too far ahead. So she was talking to me about becoming a mom before I was even married. This was even before I was even engaged. So in my typical way of responding to her, I just rolled my eyes and was like, ugh, Mom. See, for the longest time in my life, I couldn't see myself as a mother. I didn't feel like I showed the typical traits of what you'd call mother material. See, I was not the one who got excited around kids. Whenever friends would ask me if I wanted to hold their babies, I'd be like, nah, I'm good. I didn't know how to be around kids, make them laugh, or interact with them comfortably. I always felt awkward around kids. I never babysat anyone in my life. And until my son was born, I had never once changed a diaper. So last July, when I learned I was pregnant, I did not feel ready at all to answer the call to motherhood. My husband, Hui, and I had just gotten married a month before. We had yet to plan our honeymoon. We hadn't even finished sending out our thank you cards from our wedding. And we were also still recovering from our recent move back to San Diego, which had just happened a couple months before that. And I was 3 months into my new job. So all this was happening, and I was like, I'm not ready to become a mom yet. But ready or not, God was calling me to become a mom. So I did what someone in my situation would do. I cried. And they weren't tears of happiness. For a while, they were tears of sadness. I was sad that life was just going to get more cluttered and complicated. I was sad that we were going to have to put our trips to places like Vietnam, the Philippines, France, and Italy on hold. I was sad that it would be a while before I could drink beer or eat sushi again. It took me a couple of weeks to digest all this news, but I began to accept the new reality that Hui and I were going to become new parents. So rather than mourn the life that I was losing, I began to celebrate the life that I was gaining. I thought of how excited my parents were going to be to meet their first grandchild. I thought of all the hikes and camping trips we'd eventually take our little one on. And I thought of what kind of example I wanted to be for our child. So now, I'm 2 months into being a new mom to a beautiful baby boy named Leo. After Leo was born, my mom and I were sitting on the couch, and she reminded me of her words to me several years ago. With Leo in my arms, she said to me, "Now you finally repaid me." And I've been thinking about what that really means. 2 months of motherhood, I feel, is barely scratching the surface. How exactly have I been able to pay her back for all that she's done for me? Is it because now I finally understand the physical pain she endured when giving birth to me? Is it because now I finally understand how much sleep she lost from all the times I cried throughout the days and the nights? Is it because I finally experienced the joys of getting peed and pooped on mid-diaper changed? Or is it because every time I check on Leo to make sure he's still breathing, I finally understand the anxiety she must have felt taking care of a helpless and fragile little baby? It could be all of the above. But in the 2 months I've had Leo, I've realized something else. I realized that I am finally giving the same love that my mom has been giving to me all my life. There's an entirely new level of love and joy that comes with being a mom. It's really hard to describe, so I'm not even going to try. It didn't really hit me until I held Leo in my arms for the first time right after he was born. I felt this happiness that was so great it overpowered whatever physical pain and exhaustion I had at the time at the hospital. As I looked down at him, I could barely see his face, but I could feel his eyes looking up at me, and I just thought maybe he recognizes me as his mama. A moment ago, it was just me, my husband, and of course the rest of the medical team, and then suddenly there was this little new person in our lives. I didn't know I could already love someone that I barely knew so much. I didn't know that someone else's first smiles could make me feel so happy. Before, all I could think about was how I wasn't ready for a child in my life. But now, I don't want to imagine my life without him. This love and joy, they're the same ones that my mom tried to describe to me all these years. The love and joy that I feel each day I hold Leo and see him grow, that's the same love and joy that my mom felt when she held and looked at me the same way. It's the same love and joy that has persisted and grown through this day. And I know that Leo will never remember any of these months or know how much I love him right now. He won't know that love until he becomes a parent himself one day, if he so chooses to answer that call. But I'll continue loving him regardless, because I can't help it, and it's what God has called me to do. So in return, let's show our mothers lots of love today, and every other chance we get. Here are a few suggestions from my humble opinion. Take lots of pictures with your mom. She'll never feel like she has enough pictures with you. Give her a long, warm hug. It'll show her that the bond you both had, even before you were born, is still there. Tell her about your favorite moments and memories with her. It'll let her know that she's not the only one who's cherished all your time together. But whatever you do, give her your love. There's no one way that's better than the other. Just love her. Just show her, tell her. Love. It's the greatest gift your mom could ever ask for. Happy Mother's Day.